Well, hello, I'm David Freeman with Is That Really in the Bible? What is the formula? Here's the question. What is the formula for receiving the Spirit of God? Did you know that most churches don't teach the formula for receiving the Spirit? Most churches don't even know the formula. I mean, think about it. When was the last time you heard a sermon on the formula for receiving the Spirit of God? I'm not talking about how to be saved, how to be a good Christian. I mean, as far as how to be saved, you've heard that a million times. You know, all heads bow now. If you accept Christ into your heart, now raise your hand up. Oh, say, bless you, brother. Thank you, brother. You know, we got this and saved. And from that point, you never think about it. You never give it another thought. You never give it a second thought from that day forward. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how to receive the Spirit, the formula for receiving the Spirit of God. Now, how important is this information to know the formula? It's life or death. That's how important it is. Romans 8 and verse 9 says this, "Now, if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, he is none of his." You know, that's what separates. I mean, where the rubber meets the road, whether or not you have the indwelling presence of the Holy Spirit of God. This is not an issue of, well, I think I have the Spirit of God. I go to church. I claim to be a Christian. I invited Jesus into my heart. I've been saved. I feel like I have the Spirit of God. You must know you have the Spirit of God, and the way that you know is by following the laid out formula in the Bible. That's how you know. Now, before we get started, let me give you some background information. Genesis 1 and verse 22, "And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness." Now, obviously, we're created in the image of God, but we are not like God, meaning in character. That process has to be developed. And the only way that process can be developed, to develop the characteristics of God, to think like God would think, to behave, to act like God, and it's a lifelong process. I mean, you don't, just because you're baptized, you don't get there immediately, but here's what we got to understand. Yeah, we're created in the image of God, but we are to be created in the likeness of God also. Mankind, here, listen closely. Mankind was created incomplete. You were created incomplete. There's something missing. That missing spiritual element is the Spirit of God, or God's DNA that you can receive. Now, once you receive the Spirit of God, God's DNA, over the process of time, you will develop the likeness and the character of God. But you have to know the formula for receiving the Spirit of God. There is an absolute, laid out, direct formula for receiving the Spirit of God.
Check us out on the web at isthatreallyinthebible.com.